are listening to the Persistence Mastery Podcast to give your communication skills the clarity edge with your host, Paul Leon.
Welcome back to the podcast, and I hope you had a really good holiday season. So we're going to jump right into the content, and what I really want to accomplish in this episode is cover some concepts to help reduce conflict in the workplace. And with that said, I'm going to get right into it. So who is this episode for? This episode is for maybe new managers, struggling managers, or maybe direct reports who are having a tough time or are looking for a management job. So wherever you are in this episode, I really want you to perk up those ears, stay with me, because you're going to get a lot of value in today's episode. And again, happy Labor Day, and I hope you had a good holiday. And here we go. So the first thing is to reduce conflict in the workplace is remember the HALT acronym, which stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Many times we want to engage someone when they may be in this state or they may be struggling with something in their personal life. So it's really important that to do your best to not engage with someone who is struggling with those four things, whether they're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And if this becomes an ongoing thing, you're struggling with someone, I mean, that's a totally different conversation. But for the generality and the high level concept, I really want you to embrace is be mindful of that acronym when engaging a direct report or somebody you work with so you can reduce conflict in the workplace or not have any miscommunications follow you home in and out throughout the day. The second thing that I want to cover here is having a certified structure that works really well that I have found in one-on-ones between a direct report and manager in terms of good communication skills is covering your one-on-ones with, number one, you're going to cover your projects and report out, number one. Number two, if what are those updates are, if there are mistakes that you need to own or we need to own, we just need to own those concepts or own those times when it happens. And it's so important we do that. And the third thing, and only if there's time, is to embrace giving ideas to your manager or your direct report. But how do you do that in a way where it doesn't come across as they're not good enough or they're not smart enough? Well, here's one way you can do it. May I make a recommendation? See what I just did there? It's very simple, but you may have missed it, so stay with me. I ask, may I make a recommendation? See, what a lot of managers do, and believe it or not, as simple as this is, we miss it day in and day out, is they just go right into, well, you know what I recommend is boom, and they hit you with it. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. Maybe you have enough rapport to do that. But bottom line, it's better to ask permission. Now, there's this old saying that's saying it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And I totally understand that. I think it's cool. And I think it's a weird stigma that has traveled throughout the years. But that doesn't really work in the real world. I mean, it does on some level, but ultimately, 8 out of 10 times, it really just creates conflict, confusion, tends to irritate people. So what I like to do is I say, may I make a recommendation? I recommend X. And once I have their permission to do that, then they're more likely to listen, more likely to stay with me, more likely to embrace that idea and actually put it into effect. Now, what if there's something you have to address? What if there's, let's say, a problem? Well, simply put, just simply say, I'm starting to see a challenge here. May I address it with you? Again, ask it in the form of a question. When we do that, we tend to have that a lot better. So another concept that's really going to help you reduce conflict in the workplace is have a structured one-on-one system, which is your projects first, the updates for those projects, whatever mistakes they are, own them. But here's another thing I want to say, and this is for the direct reports. I'm going to shift gears a little. Is you really want to make sure that if there's a mistake, if there's an error, if there's something you didn't know, or you know what you know now and you didn't know then, just simply tell your manager, hey, I found this error. Let me tell you the mistake. but let me tell you what I'm doing to own that mistake and make it better if I can report that to you. And what's going to happen is their ears are going to perk up. You don't want to come across as somebody who's negative, who's not positive, or not a team player. So again, stay with me, and I really want you to stay with these concepts. Is number one, definitely leverage the HALT method. Number two, have that structured one-on-one in place where it's your projects, your updates, and if there's time for that one-on-one to allow it, ideas that can help improve the team, company, and culture so you can be a better team player and have more rapport with your coworkers, teammates, and managers to win and really avoid the pain of conflict in the workplace.
Thank you for listening to the Persistence Mastery Podcast. Subscribe to where you listen to podcasts. And if you want to hire Paul to train or speak for your team, visit persistencemastery.com and fill out the request training form.